acid test of any legal system is not why over 60 years after independence, we are still dealing with the same problems that we were dealing with at independence. Our budget runs to roughly 3.1, 3.2, 2.9 trillion shillings, around there. Apparently, SHA doesn't work. You listen to one side of the political divide, the Social Health Authority works. You listen to another political was that Kisii County divide spent well over 29 million shillings on legal fees. This man was an idealist. We have had billions allocated to the Ministry of Health. 2021, 2020.
Thank you for watching. Follow me my YouTube channel.
Last year, the Kenya Revenue Authority collected at least 2.1 billion shillings in revenue, or say ordinary revenue. Our budget runs to roughly 3.1, 3.2, 2.9 trillion shillings, around there. We collect 2.1 trillion shillings in revenue. But of the 2.1 trillion shillings collected, for the last 7 months, 1.3 trillion shillings was withdrawn from the treasury. Is this a shocker? No, it is not. Money is withdrawn all the time from the treasury. Why is this different? It's different because all these withdrawals were not authorized by the necessary authorities and were illegal. Your guess is as good as mine. We cannot trace exactly how this money was used and for what purpose. We can only believe the word of those who withdrew this money. Who withdrew this money from the treasury, we cannot ascertain. How this money was withdrawn without requisite receipt and requisite approvals, we cannot tell. It is left to our wild imagination to try and imagine where this money is at, how it's being spent, where it's being spent, and who has this broad authority and this spectrum of powers that they can walk into treasury, withdraw 1.3 trillion shillings over a period of 7 months and not account for it. Supposedly all this money has been misused. How do we tell? Supposedly all this money of our revenue and public money has been swindled into the pockets of a few individuals. How do we tell? Supposedly, this money is being stashed somewhere outside the country in offshore accounts for individuals to enjoy them after they leave power. How can we tell? How can we tell that this money has been genuinely used? Because if it was for genuine purposes, I believe there are laid down procedures to withdraw money from treasury. If, say, the government needs a certain amount of money, there are those laid down procedures that you provide the receipts and provide the necessary documentation that shows these amounts have been approved by the necessary people in authority to be withdrawn and for what particular purpose. Government money must never leave public coffers without a proper plan and without the Kenyans knowing for what this money is being used for. Now, our politicians tend to think that once they've been elected to power, they own these offices. Let me remind you, for those of you in leadership, you do not own those offices. You do not own the power that comes with it. You lease that office for 5 years with an option for renewal at another general election. If you have pleased your employer, who is the Kenyan people, your contract will be renewed. But remember this, you take that office on a contractual basis of 5 years. However we renew that contract or not will be based on a lot of factors that the voters will consider. But you do not own those offices. Those offices belong to us. You ask me under what authority I say this. I will take you back to the very document that has created that office you occupy as a politician in this country. The Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. Article 1 of the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya is very clear that all, not some, not a huge chunk of it, not a sizable amount of power, but all sovereign powers belong to the people of the Republic of Kenya and may be exercised directly or indirectly through representation or just directly. It does not define what exercising direct powers mean. But the most important part is that the document that we rely on as a country to create offices to give you authority as a politician clearly tells you that you do not own the powers of that office. You do not own that office. And my call would be to Parliament, because we have leased you those offices for 5 years. You have a role under this constitution, this that we granted ourselves for self-governance. You have to oversight and tell us who withdrew the 1.3 trillion shillings, how was it withdrawn without authorization? And after finding out all this, you must collaborate with the necessary agencies to ensure that the people who aided in these schemes are put behind bars. Some of them may be powerful more than you. Some of them may work in the executive. But you must rise to the occasion and do what is right by the Kenyan people. And do what is right by the power that we have leased to you for 5 years. But anyway, who am I fooling? Do they even listen to us? They don't. We told them not to pass the finance bill. They passed it. So it may be an excess in futility, but I will not tire to remind you, you leader who is in power, courtesy of the vote of the people of the Republic of Kenya. You do not own that office, nor the authority that comes with it. All sovereign power belongs to the people of the Republic of Kenya. We have leased that office to you for 5 years, and we still have control over it, because you must consult us in every stage of the decisions you make. But now you must rise to the occasion as the date of destiny beckons. 2 years down the line, we will meet at the ballot. We will interview your progress. We will check the development you've done in your constituencies. And we will check how well you did and performed at your oversight role of the executive and the whole government and the whole country, because that is your key role. But anyway, all that in mind, we do not know where our 1.3 trillion shillings is. Let that number stick to your mind, my fellow Kenyan, because it has monumental impact to the well-being financially of this country. And that is my unfiltered insight tonight.